good evening. This is the Planning Board meeting of October 8th, 2019, and being broadcast to you by Area 58 Access Media. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First on the agenda tonight is for public hearing continued is on the application of Bayberry Dunes LLC requesting a site plan review pursuant to sections 3100 of the Carver zoning bylaw. And it's located at North Main Street and Lillian Way in Carver. Assessors map 49, lot 62-2, and it's to construct 2 commercial buildings. And the proposed building use will be wholesale, warehouse, and distribution in the general business district.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be excusing myself as I'm a butter.
Okay.
Thank you.
You will. Jim, do you have anything to say about this before we start?
So collectively, we have been working diligently with the applicant, especially Andy Glines, our peer reviewer. So last week we got kind of final responses from Andy. The applicant over the weekend made some additional responses. There is a letter dated October 8th from Andy Glines, from Professor O'Neill. Just outline items that the planning board may want to consider as additional conditions for the project. And then other than that, we have a draft decision for the planning board to consider tonight after the presentation by the applicants.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Jim.
There's one other item note is that when the applicant first submitted their application to the planning board, they put down warehouse, I believe it was light manufacturing. I'll find the minutes. Okay, there we go. So in their application, they put down wholesale, warehouse, distribution in the general business district. That's not permitted in the general business district, but at a later date, they did clarify that what they're trying to do is contractor and craftsman type spaces. So I just want to raise that up because there were some chatter, I guess, on some of the social media about how could this go forward if it's not the right use. So just want to clarify that to the board and to everybody out there that the intended use is the contractor slash craftsman spaces. And then once they get their site plan approval, then they still have to go to the building commissioner to make sure that each individual tenant fits the definition of the contractor, tradesman zoning ordinance into that use pattern.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Bob Kroll and Chris Leamy, drafter designer for Duxbury Construction.
Do you have, I know that we walked and we did a site visit last week.
Yes.
And Jen and I were out there with you and Jim. And I know, Jim, you said you just received some comments from Andy Glines.
Right, there's some final comments.
Yep, and in fact, sorry to cut in, everyone now has a copy of that. It was the top letter on the packet that I just handed out. It's basically, it consists of just recommendations and stating waivers and stuff. There's no more corrections to be made, technical corrections anyway.
Can we vote on anything tonight with this? We only have 3 members since Will is...
Right, so it's site plan review, so you're allowed to have 3 members, majority of the board present, and vote on it. And so you have to have at least a 2-1 in favor
Okay.
to vote something along.
Okay. All right, is anything that you people wanted to say tonight?
You can just talk about the changes you've made to the plans.
Exactly. So last time we met, you guys got a feel for the project when we went and did the site visit and stuff, and, I mean, the one thing we went away with was you were saying you just wanted beauty on the site, so outside of a few technical things that Fuss and O'Neill were pointing out, we just had the landscape architect just add more stuff in between the trees on the frontage areas. The trees that he proposed planting, they didn't actually fill up space, in between the trunks and stuff, so you will see on the landscape plan that I attached for all of your packets, all kinds of different vegetation proposed between the big trees on the frontage sides. And then we also got them to update with plants that grow to a more suitable height on the two abutting lot lines and stuff. So those things should grow to about 8 feet, and when you add in the slope and the retaining wall, there will be about, I forget what it is, 11, 12, 13 feet of building showing to anyone looking in, but we feel it's an adequate amount of screening, despite not having giant, big evergreens there. And his reasoning for that was he can actually plant those size trees on a 2-to-1 slope that looked like that. So that's why he chose deciduous shrubbery and stuff to go on the inner lot lines. That's like the biggest fundamental change, I'd say, since we last met. Everything else has just been a matter of correcting typos, adding bits of info here and there, and stuff like that.
So we have rhododendrons, we have winterberry shrubs, viburnum, creeping juniper, and see out front we have red maples, okay? And then we have a lawn and back, okay? All right, any questions by any of the planning board members?
I'm not an arborist, so while I recognize the names, I don't know what they look like. Do you have images of what these things look like? I don't have.
Not with me, no.
Okay.
Maybe,
Is there a concern that you'd like to have perhaps addressed?
Really, it's just the visual, like you had said, filling in between the trees.
Yeah.
But I don't know what these circles look like.
Yep.
I would like to assume that you did it, and it looks like you did, but without knowing exactly what each circle is.
So this was actually done by a landscape architect, not me, just in case there was confusion. So we outsourced it to him and trusted him on it and his visual and aesthetic expertise. If that's something we need to follow up on, provide more info, we certainly can. If that's a condition, for example. I like to think that he wouldn't have just plopped a few shapes on there to satisfy us, but.
well, actually, they're labeled, but they're just labeled once, I believe, Jen. So, each symbol, like this type of symbol means
Right.
arborvitae, means they're actually going to plant daylilies. And so this is a symbol for rhododendron. This is for winterberry. And these are the symbols for trees. So,
I understand that.
Yeah.
I don't know what those actual, I don't know what winterberry looks like. I don't know what a daylily looks like. I'm sure I've seen them.
I don't know, Kevin, do you?
A daylily is
Don't
a grass, is more of a grassy looking type. Winterberry's a little bit bigger. The daylilies are only going to be coverage for spring, summer, and fall. They'll be dead for the winter. I'm trying to get to the plan so I can kind of tell you.
It was the last one in that bundle of plans. It says landscaping plan should be at the bottom.
I got it.
Sorry, big pile of stuff.
So if I can help a little bit, Jen. So the creeping juniper is a little bit, it's almost a ground cover, depending on how high they have it. But it does grow about 6-8 inches tall. I'm just trying to find it.
And that's, it says just to stabilize that slope, because there'll be
Yeah,
a slope.
okay, there we go. They have gallon sizes, so a 5-gallon pot is a pretty good sized pot. So 15 of the green giant, those are arborvitaes, so 8-inch minimum. Those are probably, I'm assuming those are gonna probably be 8-inch minimum, they're probably gonna be 10 feet.
At time of planting, or like final
10 feet,
growth?
they're gonna probably be 10 feet now, at the time. It looks like they've got them set, because the 8-inch is gonna be that big.
Okay,
Okay, so think about 8 inches, if you have a ruler, I think 8 inches is about that round at the base, you know, and it tapers up. So it could be as big as 10 feet. It would be nice if you could
Yeah, he's
get,
marking just,
I think
it says 8 feet minimum, he's doing height on that one.
right.
Okay, just in case.
So the green giant arborvitae, which would be the second one down,
Yep.
I have quantity of 15 with an 8-inch minimum, meaning...
8 foot, 8 foot.
Oh, 8 foot,
approximately.
oh, okay, good. I thought it was 8-inch, but same idea, that's gonna be close to, well, 8 feet. Obviously, they said it. And same thing with the emerald, giant greens, emerald greens, those are, Jen, those are the green trees that kind of go taper up. They're a little bit rounder at the bottom, and as they go up, they kind of go up to a bit of a peak like that, they kind of taper.
okay,
So they're good coverage.
okay.
They have 15 of them. I don't know, I'd have to look at the plan to see where they're using them. Where specifically are they?
They're on the side over here. We're on the Main Street side.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. So that's good for the street. Now, did we have any neighbors that we were concerned about that were going to see any of this?
Yeah, so,
No, well, we do have one.
Well, you guys went for a walk, so.
Yeah,
Right.
we have, it's just another commercial building, used to be the old
All right.
fiberglass building.
Yep,
But, I mean, you have Main Street, this is just Woodlands in back, this is Carver Glass here, and this is Lillian Way here, and the first driveway is further up the street. So there is, and then there's a commercial building across the street, it's a medical building.
okay. So where they have the 15 green giant arborvitaes, that's going to be pretty solid. Okay. Now, where the breakdown with the 12 daylilies and the ivory halo dogwood, dogwood is the one that's got kind of like those berries that are falling off right now and smell good. So in the springtime, they have pink, red, and white flowers. They're more of a tree.
Okay.
So those will be trees. Rhododendrons will be lower than those, and the winterberry will be for color for like coming up this time of the year, you know. And I did notice they moved the red maples so that they wouldn't be in the swale, right?
Yes.
That was fussing on you. And that's a good place, because that's the entrance to see a red maple. That's very pleasing to the eye.
yeah, it's the least we could do.
So
there.
for the most part, it looks like that corner is going to be very pleasant looking to see, and you've got a good, I didn't walk it, but you've got a good amount of trees that are going off to Main Street, so that's going to be covered.
Okay.
So their landscape plan, in my opinion, looks good.
Okay,
You know, they're going to have good cover, as long as they follow this is going to be decent.
and then Kevin, what about the part west of the driveway? Because one of my concerns was that
Where
this
they
is
had just have the lawn?
Yeah, because this is, I mean, this is basically the entrance to a neighborhood. Once you get past, these buildings, there is a neighborhood up there, so it's
Right.
kind of, I did use the word beauty. Let's make this beautiful. You're gonna see it from Main Street. It is kind of the entrance to this
So
neighborhood.
on the corner, see where they have existing vegetation? What did you guys see for existing vegetation? I mean, is it going to go dead completely? Is it the kind of thing where there's not gonna be any green as soon as
Well,
good heavy
what's
frost
happened
hits it?
is there's a, from the street, it goes up, and then it goes down, there's like an embankment, and it goes down, and that's all gonna be flattened out.
Okay.
And it's also along Main Street too, that, the bank on Main Street and the bank on Lillian's Way are gonna be removed. So, and that's why they proposed these plantings there.
Okay,
So-
so I'm assuming that you're, on that other side, you are putting the red maples, those are the two larger?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Okay, and the rhododendrons, so you'll have 3 rhododendrons, and then you'll have the vegetation area. And in the vegetation area, Jen, on that back corner, they're gonna be putting more rhododendrons, which are the purple flowers or the pink flowers. Large white flowers are about this big, they come up late spring, some of them come out late spring, but for the most part, early summer.
How tall do they get?
They can get
They keep
giant,
growing.
but
Okay.
right now, they have them as 3-gallon pots. So a 3-gallon pot's probably gonna be about this big by about, I don't know, a foot
There's a
deep.
couple, there is a PJM rhododendron, it's a 5.
Yeah, PJM will come out in the spring.
Okay.
So PJM rhododendron would be an early flowering. Rhododendron is the same family, but that's later. So that's gonna be good. You'll have color in the spring, and then it'll go into color in the summer. Again, you'll have the winterberry that'll retain most of its color through winter. So, 3-gallon pots, they could probably be about from the ground to about right here, if they're of good quality. They come from a landscape company, they'll be decent. You can go to Home Depot and Lowe's, and they're not gonna, I'm not knocking them, but they're not gonna be as full.
So with the 2 buildings being very industrial, what they have proposed, does it soften it? Does it make it fit a more residential area
Oh, yeah.
better?
It's very colorful. I mean, for the most part, most of your residential homes use arborvitaes for hedges, for privacy hedges. They have Japanese maples out in the front corners of their house for color, because they're that, like, really dark purple color. And the rhododendrons are a number of different colors. They can get giant and out of size, and if they're kept dwarfed and maintained, they can stay very nice and full.
So driving by.
It will look decent.
Driving by on Main Street, you would drive by this property and think, wow, that's beautiful, that's attractive.
This particular section where they have the green and giant arborvitaes, that will, for the most part, if they have decent, they're gonna be 8-footers, so we just did a hedge. We put 10 in 40 feet. So what is that, can you just give me an idea what the distance is from the corner to the end?
From which corner?
From the top, say the front off of Main Street.
Yeah.
See where the first one is? You've got 3 that turn, and then they go right down across Main Street.
What scale is it?
I'm lost. Yeah.
What scale is it?
Yeah, I'm just, see where you have 12 daylilies, and then where you have just above the existing vegetation, about how much space is that?
60 to 80 feet.
You see what I'm talking about right here?
That's
20 feet.
So what scale is that to?
It's 20.
20? So you get 20 feet there?
So that's 100 feet.
That's 100 feet. So these are going to be a little bit sparse in 100 feet. You have 10. You cut 13 because these 2 are on the corner.
Right, so 13.
So,
The green giant arborvitae grow 14 feet wide and 30 feet high.
Yeah, looks like they're about,
14 feet wide? No.
Well, that's.
they're about 7.5, 8 feet apart.
7.5, 8 feet apart. They fill out over the course of 5 to 10 years. They could fill out another 8 to 10 inches. So it should be, yeah, I mean, it's going to be open, but it's not going to be open and you're not going to notice it driving by. And the 2 front corners of their entrance looks nice. They have low cover, they have medium, and then they have the attractive Japanese maples. Plus, I think you have a flowering dogwood in there as well, right? Which would be the,
Ivory.
yeah, the ivory halo dogwood. You have one on the right corner, and I believe you have one
X.
On the left side, I thought I saw one
Yep.
on the left side.
Yeah, I think they are under the two big trees,
Okay.
under the drip line rather. Yeah, that
It says 23.
Yeah, so I think you get, do it.
I mean, I didn't walk it with you guys, so and he just gave me an idea of the space between where the last dogwood's gonna be all the way down. You just said it was about 100 feet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you've got 15 of them, and right now, they're gonna probably, you could put your arm around them.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be that size. So if they're 8 feet, the root ball's gonna be close to 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty decent-sized tree, and they do grow fairly quick. So is there gonna be do they have recommended a drip line in there for those when they're first planted?
I don't know about drip line. Yeah. In terms of what's required or in terms of what he's proposing?
Well, in terms of, putting the money into putting that in, and then just, you don't want them to die. What is the guarantee that they're not all gonna die? You could lose possibly one or two, but I don't know if you're gonna have any kind of drip line in there for them.
Okay.
I mean, I know, for instance, those trees can be almost, they're $290 a piece. I just bought 10 a month and a half ago.
Okay. So just flag that for...
Quite the investment times 15.
Yeah, yeah. Something we should be flagging for time of construction?
I think it might be a good idea to recommend a drip line or the bag of, they have the bags of, the water bags that break down slowly so that they'll stabilize for 6 months before they take off. I mean, that's a huge investment, so you just may want to think about that.
Kevin, can you look at number 15 on the bottom right of the corner? The way I interpreted it seems
So the
like...
daylily says...
No, number 15 down here says the...
Owner reserves the right to substitute plant selections with plants similar character. If this similar character is okay as long as they haven't changed it at all. So, for instance, like the green giant arborvitae and the emerald green arborvitae, they're almost exactly the same unless you're a professional and you know the difference. So that can't change because it has to be in the same species, I believe.
I mean, sometimes when you're ordering things, they don't have it, or you want to plant it, and you want
Right.
to get something.
And I think what she's trying to say is, if a plant is, if you can't get it,
Right.
something similar has to be similar to the size,
I'm uncomfortable approving something with that in there, saying, okay, we're approving this, but we totally changed things
No,
when we went to
no,
plant.
it says it's supposed to be someone,
Well, similar is very subjective. I appreciate Kevin's analysis, so if something was going to change, I would want to hear from you again, or know more about the plant. Because what you just said was very valuable to me.
All right.
So could we strike number 15 and continue on?
You can ask them to strike number 15, and that way they are subject to put in what they have put down here. But what they're saying is, they may not be able to get 15 of that particular ones, or they might not have 15 good-looking ones.
yeah.
So, I don't know I don't know if we have the right to tell them to wait until they get it, or try to find it somewhere else, but I think what they're doing is they're looking for close to a substitution. It's gonna be,
Yeah.
it has to be similar
Right.
size-wise.
I just did a condominium site plan in Hanson, and the landscape architect I used, would call out something, but he gave me like 4 other things in case they weren't available, but they were all similar type thing, and that's what we would do here. But
So I think what Jen was kind of
Yeah.
hoping for is it would be more subject to our condition to
Yeah.
make sure that they're gonna be the same, that you're not just necessarily gonna
Right.
put in what you want. I think what, I see and understand exactly what she's saying. She's hoping that the way that's written, we agree to this, and then something gets substituted that's far less quality
Right.
and growing.
Plants of similar
Potential.
character, you said a dogwood is pink, similar characteristic, I'll take a little pink flower. Technically, it's the same characteristic, I just don't want to bait and switch.
Right, so I think it's better to address the size according to the color.
Okay,
Because like I said, you could get dogwoods in 3 different colors.
so then maybe that needs to be specified similar size and shape, not just don't leave
All right,
characteristics.
we can change the plan to.
That's not, I'm glad, that's good. I think her biggest concern, and I understand, is the buffering.
Yep.
That the buffering is substitute to whatever you're gonna put in there, it's got to be still the same size, the same growing capacity.
Makes sense to us. Making it up myself.
Okay.
I do thank you for your expertise. That
Oh,
helped
you're
without
welcome.
having images and the knowledge, that was very helpful.
These are definitely used in residential.
Okay.
So that's a good number of things that they picked for those 2 corners. It will blend.
Okay, great.
We could always check to see what Will Sinclair has in his front yard.
Well, then if we can tighten that up, then I think I'd be comfortable with the landscaping that's proposed.
And so you understand what?
Absolutely. No,
That's
yeah.
very specific to the size and very specific to the buffering
Right.
aspect.
All right, we all set with the landscaping? I mean, actually, I think that it's a pretty detailed landscape plan. Probably one of the better landscape plans that I've seen come before the board. I'm very happy with that. Did you ever get I know I talked about a picture of what the buildings are gonna look like. Do we have any idea?
He's brought some generic photos. We also have some drawings too, if that would help.
This one's actually the one in Carver.
It's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the one, is that on Tremont?
Yeah, Trevor,
Yeah.
the new one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the back, obviously.
Mhm.
So the metal, they sort of have like a stone, 4-foot stone around the bottom of the building. So that's what it'll look like. Okay, so it
And
is
again, I think
simple.
the most important thing that we also talked about, absolutely,
No.
it would not be rented out to mechanics.
Right, yeah, no, that's absolutely not.
More or less, electrical,
Right.
plumbing.
Yeah.
Did you have a specific kind of renter that you were looking to go for? Kind of in that general
Basically,
idea,
what I
right?
just said, landscaper. I don't want any repair stuff whatsoever.
Right.
Right, actually, those
HVAC shop.
Yes,
garages and repair garages, those kind of shops are prohibited.
but this is the area anyway.
But it would, I think another thing that would be important is we want to think that somebody could just rent it and store their stuff in it, you know?
Yeah, it's more of a trades
It's
building.
got,
I want, just people to come in, grab this stuff, like I spoke last meeting. Yeah, just a guy that do his own home, working out of his house or his own garage.
yeah, I think a perfect example is right now across from Deacon's up on Route 58.
Yeah.
I believe that was I think we approved that. That was, sorry to call upon you, Will. What was the name of that gentleman that did that? Those were done very well.
Which one?
The ones on 58, next to the church, across from Wayne Neal's Cranberry Bog, almost diagonally across from Berry Guys.
Yeah, we did.
He redid the houses on Center Street,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name.
but I think that's exactly the same idea, right?
That was the pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those pictures are from.
yes.
Those are them.
We were trying to think of who that was that did those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the business that owned that was J.K. Realty. They did.
JLK.
JLK, yes, yep. That's identical we're gonna do though. They have
Okay.
a crane company in there, they have an electrician, I think, in one now already. Same idea.
And then Kevin, one more thing to you. If you find the Fuss and O'Neill memo from October 8th, look at the very last condition that they recommend about the landscaping plan.
Yeah, I
What-
believe it had to do with the split. At first, they had Japanese maples in an area that
Just
they
make
had
sure-
suggested.
Yeah, make sure that doesn't conflict or that it's.
No, that was one of their suggestions, that you revise on the ones that they just handed to us.
Okay, because this memo was October 8th.
Yes, and the current printout of the landscape plan reflects that change. They just want to make sure it happens.
Okay, the printout 10-4 reflects this.
Yes, it should, yes.
Okay,
Because they also requested that in the previous letter, so it's just this. If you look at the left side of the driveway, you'll see those plants more or less centered on that dashed line. Originally, they were about 5 to 10 feet in,
okay,
and it was possibly, it threatened to disrupt like a drainage swale that we had there where stormwater was flowing into. The roots would impact all that kind of stuff, so they just said, hey, to be safe, can you slide it out of that area? The best we could do is to have it straddle the lot line, because we have essentially no room to play with there for landscaping, so.
so then we wouldn't.
You talked about that
condition it?
area, that was like an easement, and that's where they're gonna ease the water into. So what they didn't want is for that to be blocked and have it. So Fuss and O'Neill addressed it, and then they changed it on their landscape plan.
Got it, great.
And then they gave us this updated memorandum tonight, right? This is what
Correct.
you just handed us back.
Exactly. And all the plans, if you care to go through them all, they actually reflect that too. Any of the changes that we made,
Right.
including the landscape plan.
Great,
So the original one, they were back 10 feet. They're coming forward now.
okay.
Closer to the,
Yeah, and that was just an oversight. We told him to plant stuff right there. He planted a little bit too close. We didn't realize until we had sent it off.
Yep.
And then Fuss and O'Neill pointed out and said, oh, yeah, right on. Here we go. It's going to go to the embankment of a little swale, a little bit of a depression. That's it.
All right, that's shown on the 10-4 plan, wasn't revised since then, this landscape plan.
It should be on there, yes.
So that's shown on that one?
Yep.
Okay.
Is the dumpster going to be enclosed with fence?
Yes.
Okay.
Added all details.
And Fuss and O'Neill has looked over the lighting plan.
So apparently there was a change, I think the applicant included a lighting plan to it. And originally, I think the problem was lower than 14 feet, but on the new plan, you're showing it's 14 feet.
14 feet. It was just an oversight. We proposed 10. We actually weren't thinking straight. We weren't thinking about vehicle access and clearance and stuff. And we chose we chose the highest pole available under 15 feet, which is the limit according to the Carver regs. So everything will be mounted at 14 feet now on the lamp posts. If you're looking at the lighting plan, it'd be whatever's labeled LP.
Now, these lights, are they going to be lit at night or just in hours that the building's in use? or-
Nope, lit at night.
So it'll be lit all night long?
Yeah, we addressed that last meeting. There was
Okay,
someone in the neighborhood had asked to make sure for security reasons that we had the light on.
okay.
We're not opposed to it. I want the buildings to be safe. I want the neighborhood to be safe, obviously, too.
and all the lighting would be directed towards the buildings.
Yep.
So that there'd be no spillage to the neighbors as well, right?
Yeah, they're all calibrated that way. They have certain directions and certain angles to hit, and these seem to satisfy all that stuff. Lighting plan will also show like an approximate photometry layout there if you care to look. They all shoot out in one direction.
And do we have hours of operation?
Normal business hours. That's what we're basically saying.
For contractors, trade.
Yeah, some of them start earlier. I can envision maybe 8 o'clock. It could be a little bit earlier, so probably 5 to 6 p.m. You know, it's people just coming in at the end of the day, you know, dropping off maybe a truck.
I don't foresee anybody starting too much early, electrician. They're not going to someone's house basically before that. I mean, I know.
I just know there's an electrician in the house at the moment.
Yeah, I know this is an emergency type situation. Okay.
All right, any other questions? Is there something you want to say, Jim?
So I just wanted to, so there were some waivers requested. Do you want to go and cover those waivers?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as everyone has the letter open. The first one we talked about last week. Engineers were requesting locations of individual trees that had a 10-inch caliper or larger. That was existing stuff. We just thought that, I mean, you guys know exactly what's happening with the lot. We basically proposed to clear it, almost all of it, save for tiny scratches here and there. We are planting stuff where it's asked of us. So just in light of that, we're asking to forego an entire day of surveying work to locate all those trees. It's extra cost incurred on the customer who we're working for, just gonna get passed down. It's all going anyway. You guys have seen the limit of the clearing, those who made the site visit, so, I mean, you have an idea of what's actually happening. I'm not sure if locating individual trees would provide any more insight.
Yeah, Professor O'Neill reviewed that. They recommended approval of that, subject to maybe having if the planning board desired to have those trees marked prior to the being cut. But you're looking at mostly the trees you're going to cut are within the site itself, where you're going to be doing clearing for the buildings, but you're not touching any of the existing trees kind of on the perimeter of the site.
There is one area on one of the inner lot lines. It's opposite of North Main Street where we're clearing up a little bit. Oh, excuse me, it's opposite of Lillian. So in this case, it would be the bottom of the plan. We do have to clear a little bit to safely grade out there. But right now the land is commonly owned. So the owner of this land is completely fine with us doing a little bit of clearing here to get some additional grading there. So it doesn't go from moderate grade, and then jump up a bunch of feet as soon as we get over the lot line. It's simple construction, I suppose.
And do you want to just kind of continue on other waivers you might be seeking?
Okay, the next one, as we said, basically the area that we were talking about where Jen was asking for the most beauty, we just simply weren't able to, given our stormwater requirements, we weren't able to do the required landscaping buffer there.
The 20-foot, we couldn't do it.
The 20-foot buffer there on that side of the driveway. So all we're asking to do is to just plant it, make it nice, and be able to maintain a drainage swale there, a grass swale. I mean, that's important for the function of the site. We feel that it overrides a landscaping concern in that one case.
And I believe that's a recommendation of Fuss and O'Neill.
That's right. And then the next one, waiver section 3251, is that still?
Yep. We'd still like a little bit. We weren't able to do it everywhere for the entire stretch of the building. We had to, on the Main Street side of the smaller building, we had to chop a little off so as to just maintain safe traffic circulation. If someone's coming around here, doing a little bit of landscaping on that corner is going to pinch where they make a turn. It's just a little unsafe, therefore we truncated a little bit. And then on this side, we weren't able to do it in the entire way for the same reason. Basically, when vehicles are turning this way, adding another 6 or 10 feet is just going to mess everything up. We made the executive decision to basically cut it in half. So we're constrained in the interior of the site there just for traffic concerns. And there was previously none. We've added wherever we possibly could. We added stuff on other sides, hopefully to make up for it. We feel it's an adequate substitute. That's why we
So on the larger building, so it's at the Lillian Way side of the building, you have, how many feet are there?
60 feet on both of them, right?
Yep, 60
Planting
feet.
areas.
60 feet?
60 feet left to right. I think that
But how
should,
wide is the bed?
probably
Is it 10
6,
feet?
I think. Should be 6. Thank you. Oh, this is 15 scale. Just a second.
Oh,
Just a moment, please.
That's 30.
Isn't that 6 feet? 6 feet.
Okay, so 6 feet there. And then on the left-hand side of that building where you can do it, how deep is that?
Just a moment. It's 6 feet deep, please excuse me. The length is about 60 as well.
And then you have nothing on the inside, you know, that inside driveway,
No.
nothing at the bottom of the building?
Correct.
Okay. And then on the building to the right, the smaller building, you just have a little bit on the front and then at the top of the building?
Correct.
And then those also 6 feet?
Those are 6 feet.
Yep.
Also, yeah.
Okay. And then I think you're also looking for waiver, section 3252 for loading area screening.
That is correct. As we talked about in the previous meeting, it's just something we're not able to do. The site constraints make it like that. The loading zone, at least according to our customer, isn't foreseen as like a super busy area with Cisco food trucks unloading things all day, for example. It's just going to be located here. We don't have the physical, any physical space to enclose it. We pushed it from here near the front of the site to the back, and I think
The
that
truck
was,
comes in, stops, they unload, and
and they back out. That's the best we
So
can
that,
do.
is that area raised?
No,
no, it's
just marked.
And again, that was...
There are no loading docks, you know.
Right, no traditional loading.
Yeah, it's going to have a garage door, an overhead door, and
So essentially, a future tenant would just pull their vehicle up,
yeah.
open up the door, unload or offload, and then...
It's all ground level. Yeah.
From the back or back and front?
The middle alleyway there,
Yeah, this is where all the overhead doors are, on the
Okay.
inside, yeah.
And again, that was recommended by Fuss and O'Neill to approve that waiver.
So was Fuss & O'Neill looking for screening at the 12-foot section there in the front? Just, or were they looking for screening around the whole entire thing? I don't understand what the screening is
Oh,
they're
so
looking
they-
for.
Yeah, so apparently the bylaw requires 10-foot landscape areas
Oh, okay.
on every side that has a public entrance, and due to the site constraints, you know, they're attempting in some areas to provide some, and other areas where it's really constrained by the driveways.
Exactly, because they only have 30 feet between buildings.
And given the fact it's sort of in the center, and then, you know, they do have some landscaping where it counts, which is in the outside edges, and then the edges kind of facing towards Lillian. And I think that's a, you know, good compromise.
Anything else? Is that it?
You're happy, we're happy.
That was it, okay.
Yes.
And those were all okayed by Fuss and O'Neill?
Pretty much, the only one, the one 3251, oh, that's the 10-foot landscape. It was, they were kind of leaving it up to the board on that one. But you know, given the site constraints, you know, I agree that a waiver should be considered for that.
I feel as though it would, people would probably be driving over it anyways, you know.
Better losing battle.
But it is on the front, and it is more than halfway down each side.
And also, I think the building's going to be more kind of in a bowl, so you're not necessarily going to see that from the street, It's more when you come into the site, you'll see that.
Correct.
Any other questions by board members?
All set.
If none, is there anybody out in the audience that would, that has anything to say? Any questions?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. William Sinclair, 5 Lillian Way. Could you guys describe to me on your swale on Lillian Way, how deep that is and where it's exactly located?
Sure. Just a second.
I haven't looked at the plans.
All good. Let me just find it myself. If anyone else wants to follow along, it's page 3 or sheet 3 of 5, proposed grading and utilities. There you go.
So that's 120 and a half. You
You
have
can point out.
120, you have 123,
Uh-huh.
so it's, yeah, 2.5 feet.
My question on this is that this parcel, this area of the street, that's, this area of the street during a high rain, winter and stuff like that, this floods, this ices up a lot. Present conditions, that ices up a lot. This professional building's open now, a lot of traffic in and out of there. We're taking more water gonna go to that swale. If it overflows onto that, that's gonna be an issue. To add more dangerous towards that
Well,
part of the street.
there's a swale,
Yeah,
and it goes into, it goes into the drainage system here.
okay.
So the water comes out into here, goes into a 12-inch PVC pipe, and it connects and goes in this way. And also, there is a trench drain right at the street line here.
You got it. That was my biggest
Yep,
concern
yep,
for safety.
yep, okay.
Thank you.
So because there's a bank there right now, the water used to flow down the bank and onto Lillian Way and cause some sort of puddling out there. But now that bank is gonna be knocked down and you're gonna have a swale there. So I see that the catch basin rim in that area is 120. Elevation 120. So what's the bottom of the swale?
120 and a half.
Okay,
We're looking at a sheet 3 of 5 here. You should see a mark in the center of the swale that says plus P 120.5.
okay.
Yeah, the rim there for the catch basin's 122.30.
Okay.
So that's higher, meaning it's gonna drop into the 120 and a half. Right?
Well, the pipe's,
Set at
that's in the
123.
swale, it's 120.20. So that's the low point in the swale. And then it goes into the catch basin at 119.87. So the swale will fill up and it'll go into where the catch basin is. It'll go through the grit chamber, through a manhole, and into the leaching chambers.
Okay. So at least that hill, which is now 126 feet at the highest contour,
Right.
is going to be knocked down by 5 feet or more.
5.5 feet.
Yeah, 5.5 feet. All right. So there is a detail, EE.
Should be on sheet 5 of 5.
And that'll show that.
actually labeled DE on this.
Yeah.
So it would in fact just be grass swale where you see it.
Okay.
It's the fourth detail from the top, from the left.
Oh, yeah, that's the right one.
So I guess, yeah, what I'm saying is from the site, there won't be any water draining into the road. It's gonna go into the soil and then be dispersed.
Everything on site, pretty much, is all staying on site.
Yeah, there's a net zero effect in the entire thing. And in fact, that swale is actually created to handle the water coming down from the hill of the second lot. It has nothing to do with any of this stuff.
Okay.
Water's coming down here, and then the way that we're grading this, and then asking for an easement from the neighbors, is to sort of guide that water that's coming this way, going around here, settling into the swale, and then just slowly being dealt with the infiltration system. It's actually not related to this, more or less, although there are trench drains and catch basins and stuff that can accommodate more overflow if they need to.
So it's actually gonna improve the conditions of the street? Yeah. At least for water that's coming from that lot anyway.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, which way is that driveway sloping? From Lillian Way, is it sloping, it's gonna slope down?
Slow down, I mean, of course you have to drive up a little bit. It's 123, about where you start driving in, is what we're proposing. And, can't barely see it, pardon me, but yeah, you'll be going up about a foot from Lillian Way. If you're standing in the center of Lillian Way, it's about 122. And so the minute you walk onto our lot line, you're already on the way to 123. And by the time you make it to the site, it's 123 and change all over the place. So it's, I'd say, 1.5 feet on average increase from that driveway.
So will water be coming out of that paved area and then flowing out on Lillian Way?
No, we have a trench drain out there.
Okay. All right. What's that, at the entrance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So that captures
It's
that
labeled, it's
water.
on
The trench stream was on 3 of 5, right?
sheet 3 of 5, it shows it.
Okay, so that captures any water that's
Yep.
going off the site, goes into the trench drain, and then what goes into the drainage area there?
Yep.
Okay. So it should actually improve that condition. Or at least not make it any worse than it is. Right. All right, anybody else in the audience have any other questions? Well, seeing none, entertain a motion to close the public hearing, and then we'll go on to Jim's conditions.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on, what is this called? On Bayberry Dunes, site plan review.
I'll second.
So you have a motion and a second for the discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that was unanimous. All right, Jim, do you have the conditions for us tonight?
Sure. So, conditions, number one, prior to the issuance of a building permit, A true copy of the recorded decision as registered at the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds shall be submitted to the board. And B, the applicant shall provide the endorsed and recorded easement plan for off-site grading and stormwater maintenance. Condition number two, the project must be constructed as approved in the site plan. Any other revisions will require approval from the board as a modification of this decision. Number three, the applicant is responsible for the proper operation and maintenance of the site. During construction, sedimentation and soil erosion controls shall be installed, repaired, and supplemented as needed. Dust control is required during construction, and the roadway apron is to be kept swept and clear of any dust, dirt, or debris. Condition number four, the applicant and each of the future tenants of the contractor tradesman spaces must conform to Section 2230 use regulations schedule of the Carver zoning bylaws, as well as any other provisions of the zoning and general bylaws and requirements of the Carver Fire Department. And then condition number 5, prior to the issuance of a certificate of use and occupancy, A, any outstanding balance of the review and inspections deposit account shall be paid. B, as-built plans shall be submitted to the town's engineer and permitting department in both electronic and hard copy form prior to the final inspection. And C, in accordance with Section 3180, compliance of the Carver zoning bylaws, the town's engineer shall inspect the project to ensure that it has been completed in compliance with the approved site plan and its conditions. And then if we, I know that there was probably another request to have another condition to amend note number 15 on the landscape plan and to add, I don't know, to the existing language, but similar size and growing capacity should be used. So I can add that
Yeah,
to the,
exactly. Something is similar size and other characteristics would make me feel better.
I don't know if the, okay, well, we already talked about the waiver, so that's what we have for proposed conditions.
All right, so we could vote on those tonight, but you have to make,
So I just make an amendment to add the condition regarding note 15 on the landscape plan.
okay. So we won't be able to sign it tonight, but we could vote on it tonight.
That's correct.
All right. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the conditions as written and with that one extra condition to be added.
Right, and do you want to approve the site plan at the same time with the conditions?
Okay, and also approve the site plan.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the site plan review for Bayberry Dunes at Lillian Way and North Main Street with the conditions attached and the amendment for number 15 on the landscape plan.
I'll second that.
So we have motion, second, further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I have the photographs here. Are those for the board? Did you want those back?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next is we have a new public hearing, and we have a public hearing notice. We have a public hearing notice in accordance with the provisions of the Town of Carver zoning bylaw. The Carver Planning Board will hold a public hearing on October 8th, 2019 at 7 p.m. in the Carver Town Hall Meeting Room 1 on the application of Rebecca Flaherty requesting a special permit pursuant to sections 2230 of the Carver zoning bylaw. It's located at 66 Holmes Street in Carver, Mass. Assessors Map 75, Lot 31, A-R, to operate a hobby kennel in a residential agricultural district. Any persons interested in wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the plan is on file at the Planning Department and may be reviewed during normal business hours. Carver Planning Board, Bruce Mackey Chair, and Carver Reporter published date September 27th and October 4th of 2019. So, Jim, you have anything to,
So I believe Rebecca Flaherty here? The applicant? Okay. So my staff was looking before the meeting, they didn't see her here. She has some, lack of a better word, some disabilities, dealing with anxiety and so forth, so she may have not decided to come tonight. But essentially, what she was looking to do, she was proposing a kind of a hobby kennel and dog training service at her property, 66 Home Street. And let's see.
Is there nothing there now?
So it's a house. I believe she is currently using it for, she has some dogs on the property, but I'm not sure. She's trying to, I think she's, one, trying to come in and legalize what she has, and then two, approximately a year ago, I guess she had come to the town offices. She tried to, to get approved for a more larger scale than what she's proposing here, type of operation. I think she was really looking to have up to 20 dogs on the property. She was directed to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals to get a variance. But while she was at the ZBA, they noted that she was in the wrong place. She should be getting a special permit from the planning board. And so they went ahead and had her request to withdraw the plan without prejudice, which she did. And then recently she's been meeting with the permitting office staff to discuss what she's proposing to do. So in this case, my understanding is she's trying to do upwards of 6 to 10 dogs, which falls under the hobby kennel provision of the zoning. And I have some packets. I was trying to understand it better myself, so I created some packets to provide to the board here.
So the grid, the graph, is that some type of existing building? So I'm just having a hard time making out this.
Yes, I understand, yes.
Really, unfortunately, it's rather vague.
It is. So she was trying to, yeah, she shows a 25 by 14 building. I'm not sure if that's an existing building. I'll go to my notes here. Yeah, so I'm not sure if she's trying to convert an existing building or trying to build a new building there. But the idea was that would
For us
be...
to ask her to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, I think we'll have to reach out to her and maybe have her come, continue the matter and then have her come to the next planning board meeting. And then,
Even if she can have some representation.
right. It was my understanding she was supposed to have someone here to help represent her. So we'll reach out again, maybe do you want to set up a site walk so people have a visual of what the property looks like?
well, I know that we had discussed this for the meeting about a sidewalk, but she's not here, I suppose, or we have to, I mean, you'd have to tell her, I suppose, that anybody on the property that we're gonna be there, I guess.
Right, so we can reach out to her and see if she has some dates available for the board to come, and then I could contact the board members, of some prospective dates, and then
Okay.
try to do it before the next hearing date. Also in the audience, we have our animal control officer here, Elise Senior, and so I don't know if you have anything you wanted to speak about, or do you want to try to save it to the next meeting when we have the applicant here?
Do I have to go under oath?
Oh, no, you're not sworn in. Do you want to just come up here to the
Yeah, I will.
microphone? Thank you.
A couple weeks ago, I got a complaint about this person, and actually today I found out you're having a hearing
Welcome.
about Rebecca Flaherty. So, she does already have dogs on the property. She wants to breed. She has no license, and there's been no permit, like there's been no inspection. So I want to be a part of this process.
Thank you.
So that's why I actually went in and talked to Jim today, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to the meeting. So I'd like to be a part of going on site, but also the next planning board meeting.
Okay. So I think what we'll do, reach out to the applicant, find out what happened, and then
Okay.
try to make arrangements for a site visit, and then try to get more information from her so that we can proceed with the matter, or see if she's going to just withdraw the matter.
Okay.
So-
So, yeah, we'll have to figure out what board members can attend, what your time constraints are so you can attend, and also for
Animal
this
control
young lady,
officer?
yes, to attend to the most important person of the meeting.
Oh, good. Mr. Chair, through you, a couple of things that I'll bring to the board's attention, so that way we're ready for this. We've done this before on Center Street. Okay? A doggy daycare,
Yep,
okay? And we also,
yep.
yeah, Steph's, absolutely. It's essential that you're there with us because we need your help and assistance, because you're gonna be the one who's gonna help
Inspect.
her
Oh, help her.
and guide her to what permits that she's gonna need, what vaccinations that she's gonna need, and stuff like that. When we went through this process before, and just to give Jim, I know you're new, just so that way you're aware of this, we required, all vaccinations, what her licenses are, waste disposal plan, that type of stuff. Those are the top big ones off of my head. I can see that she's looking for a 30-day that she's gonna be doing training on. Is that 30 days gonna stay on site and operate? Do they drop off for 30 days, come back in 30 days? How's that working?
Unfortunately, this is just far too vague.
Yeah, it's vague, but I want to get this out ahead of it, so it gives her information, also helps our animal control officer to help guide that end of
I
it.
think, like you brought up, I think it's Auntie Steps or something.
Yeah, it is.
If you are not having a problem, that's probably a good model.
I have never inspected yet a property in Carver yet. I'm actually just been appointed.
Just, okay.
So,
That was one of our
right,
requirements.
but I can inspect again.
Right. I believe that would be a good model, and then you could take the idea that that's a good model to her, so she has some direction and some understanding of what she's actually.
Auntie Steph's and also the dog mall, we permitted here through this board. They were very professional. They had everything and anything that we asked for. The previous dog officer, she was essential on, especially with Auntie Steph's, understanding vaccinations, stuff like that with the dogs, and, noise control, that type of stuff, because they're in a residential area. The dog.
Good for the training
Absolutely.
The training
aspect that
aspect,
she's.
yeah.
So we have assets in town that'll be very useful,
Right.
and.
I can reach
and
out to the dog mall, because they're an actual, dog training
They
facility.
got it going on.
Auntie
Exactly.
Steph's,
They do
training also?
daycare.
Just daycare or
Yeah.
training also?
I don't know if she does training, I'm not really positive, but I know she does.
Just doggy daycare, yeah.
Because she had working hours, when people
Right.
essentially were dropping their dog off like a child at preschool and picking them up.
So we have the assets that are already here, and I can't tell you how happy that you're here.
I can't believe I found out about it today, and then I
No,
am
we're
here.
very happy to have you. You're a great asset to this board.
Thank you.
Anything else before, let's see if there's anybody out in the audience that wants to speak about this. Did you have anything more to say?
Nope, that was pretty much it.
Is there anyone here, thank you. Is there anyone here that has anything to say? No? All right. So if you could, yeah, reach out to this lady and get back to the board members, and schedule a time where the dog officer and the planning director and the board members can go out and take a look at this. And then I guess we kind of outlined the things we were looking for in some of the two other dog projects we had here.
Not to mention, I'm surprised that this was publicly posted, and you said you had a complaint. I'm surprised that that person didn't come here for the public meeting.
Right, well, that person also didn't want to write a formal complaint and sign it.
Okay.
They kind of wanted to leave their name out of it,
Yeah.
so this is kind of my problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think Will gave you some really fantastic models to look into, so that you can pass that information on to her if she's going to go forward.
Okay, so we're going to extend this.
Yeah, I would recommend it be continued to the October 22nd meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Date?
Yep.
Yep, October 22nd meeting.
Motion to continue the public hearing to October 22nd at 7 o'clock.
I'll second that.
So we have motion and second. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was unanimous. All right, next, we have a discussion for the lot release for Lindia's Path.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Mary Ellen Williams here with Karen
Karen
Cash,
Cash.
the owner of the property at Lindia's Path. And we're just looking to request that one lot be released. There are 2 lots remaining under the covenant. And it's primarily due to financial reasons, so that she could take the funds from the sale of Lot 1 to complete the necessary work to the remainder of the subdivision.
Mr. Chair, did we have to have the one first? Or has it been
It's
done?
being done. That's why I
We have
have
pictures of it here,
photos
yeah.
that you can take a look at for the subdivision. Yeah, that's being done
Affordable,
now.
it's supposed to be.
Okay. Now, so if I'm to understand, are you looking for it to be released upon this being sold and habitated?
No, being released as soon as possible. This is being completed now, but there is other work to be completed. The road and drainage, there's a
Right.
lot to be
Right.
done. And there was damage done to the house.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
All that has since been fixed.
All right, yeah,
It's
yeah.
that cease and desist.
Yeah, we'll take
And
a
here
look.
are more photos of the electrical, the ladies that were planted. This is the other lot that
The other house
has
that's,
been built on, yeah.
okay. So how many houses do we have out there altogether?
Right
4
now,
currently.
There are 3, there are 6 lots.
There's 4 houses currently. 2 are under construction, the inclusionary unit, and then the 1 unit that was conveyed.
Okay, all right. Jim, did you have anything to add to this before we discuss this?
I did not, other than,
No. All right.
were you able to get any information from the neighbors, any letters from the neighbors regarding their situation?
We did not, other than the fact that Mike Ficini is here, and he purchased the 1 lot previously, and he has that house under construction, which you'll see in those pictures. And when he first went into the subdivision, they weren't very happy with him because of things that have happened in the past. And now they pretty much love him and like everything that he's doing there, and now want him to be their personal, I don't know.
Construction go-to person.
Yeah, exactly. Well, can you do this? Can you do that? So they're constantly going over to the lot that he's working on right now, and he's made pretty good friends with all of them.
He's the current builder?
On one of the lots, and he's assisting Karen with the completion of the infrastructure. Yeah. The inclusionary unit, the construction started on that by Mr. Simbrone. Mr. Simbrone passed away, yeah. And so there was also, in his defense, there was some confusion, I believe, with the permit, because the building department said that there was no permit pulled on the inclusionary unit, but there was one on the foundation that was in. My personal opinion, after having been to the building department, to the tax collector's office, into the assessor's office, I think the lot numbers and the street numbers were mixed up. Whether that was Mr. Simbrone's confusion, I don't know, but in my experience of representing him for over 30 years, it was not something that he would do, is construct a house without a permit. A foundation, perhaps, but not construct the house the way it was. And then he got so ill that he couldn't finish it. So we met with Stephen Cole before he left, and he instructed Karen and I to have someone come in, take out all the trees because of some damage that was done to a neighbor's house. And so Mike had done that, removed all the stumps. Now he has planted trees there, and those were, it was rather expensive and unexpected to the whole project because it wasn't part of the initial project.
So you come into the project and you come around to the cul-de-sac. I'm assuming the work was done, if you would come in, so basically it'd be on the right-hand side?
The inclusionary?
No. So you had to create a buffer when you had to take more of the trees out?
It would be on the left-hand
On the
side.
left side.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the left side, yes, on the left side. I'm going in around the cul-de-sac.
Oh, okay,
Right,
yes,
so yeah,
you're
we're
correct.
talking about the same
Yes.
area.
Left side.
Okay, so that gentleman was happy with the fact that you had to take the trees out so they wouldn't ruin the houses, but you gave him a buffer.
Correct.
Okay.
What we've done in the last week is we've planted, you spoke earlier in the meetings about arborvitae, planted 35 of those so
Oh, okay.
far. We have another 15 to go.
Okay.
I took 65 trees down, stumped all that, got rid of all the stumps. Went over to Dan's house, actually planted trees in his own backyard for him to help buffer between his backyard and the house that I'm building.
Correct.
So we added 3 big white pines, and today we put in probably another 15 arborvitaes behind his house. So he's been I've gone on his property and taken out stumps with my machines and done all kinds of work for him. So he seems to be fairly comfortable with what's going on. And Cliff across the way, who had a tree fall on his barn, I believe, or his garage, kind of done the same thing for him, gone in and taken trees down. We took a lot of trees down on his side. There's still 2 more that I have to get down on Cliff's side. We had the crane there for 2 days, and they ran out of time, and I had to reschedule them, so they had to come back and take out 2 trees on Cliff's side and 2 trees in the very front, and we'll have everything.
And both neighbors are fine with that?
Yes, and actually, yeah.
No, that's good. It's nice to hear that you're working together.
Yeah, and the neighbors inside the subdivision have been very helpful too. I've also gone on their properties and done work for them and removed rocks and stumps and whatever they had to have done. So I've kind of tried to make amends for any of the past problems, work through so that they feel more comfortable going forward.
You yourself are kind of a buffer.
Yes.
We would do it if we could, but we can't, so, relying on his expertise.
So how much of the road is done? I mean, I guess that's the important question here,
Road has
because we have 2 houses, we have 2 lots we set aside in case the road wasn't built or whatever.
So, binder coat is down, all the drainage is in. all the-
Sir, can you come up to the mic? So that way people at home can identify yourself, so that way,
Mike Ficini, Bridgestone Development. Can I sit here?
yeah, absolutely. It's a comfortable chair.
And to just go down the list of things that are completed, the drainage detention area in the middle has all been rip-wrapped. The outfalls are all rip-wrapped. 90% of the sidewalk is in with a binder coat. The road is all in with a binder coat. Drainage is all in and working properly. Power, electric, and communication is all in underground. The 4 houses that are actually there, 2 are occupied, 1 is the affordable, and the other is the one that I'm building now. Those have all been inspected as of today through the frames. So we will be starting insulation on both of those simultaneously and working to get those completed. So the affordable has made a lot of progress. We've done all the decks, steps. I did the driveway
Is that
today.
what the pictures were?
Yes.
Affordable?
And even after those pictures were taken today, I had the driveway done on the affordable house. So that's completed as of today. And so my house is in that same stage, but we're looking to start the next house so that we can get the funds to do the remaining work that's required, which would be the planting of the detention area, the guardrails for the detention area, and help me out.
The landscape.
The trees.
The trees.
Those street trees, and the final coat, really, for the asphalt and sidewalks.
And you have a different quote for that than what was disclosed on that?
Sorry?
You had received a different quote.
No, it's pretty much the same. It's about $30,000
Yeah.
for the final coat of asphalt for the sidewalk and the street. So that number changed just a few $1,000s. So other than that, a lot of these things that are listed on this can't be completed until we get the rest of these houses done, because you don't want to put the final coat down, final coat on the sidewalks until the work is completed. So a big portion of the number that is still left to be completed is directly tied into that road, and that has to be one of the last things we do. But we can complete everything else that's necessary. Street trees, all that kind of stuff that is ongoing. Since I started, which is probably early summer, we've made a lot of progress. I think the site is really clean. We're sweeping the road every day after we're done. The plantings that we had to do, the trees we had to take down, a lot of that was a lot of work. And then just building the house. So I have the lot that we're looking to get released completely cleaned, stripped, ready, and that hill, which you were speaking of, the arborvitaes are all planted on that now.
Yeah, the photos there.
Mr. Chair, through you. A couple of things. You answered a lot about the remaining drainage and roadways and all those things. Do you have a number of cost?
The number on the initial 2016 are pretty good numbers. These, I don't know if you have that in front of you. Do they?
I do
have
not.
that?
I'm looking to,
We're looking at $65,000 right now.
is what's remaining to complete all the infrastructure, roadways, sidewalks, drainage?
Correct. And $34,000 of that is top coat and top coat of sidewalks. So more than 50%, or about 50% of that number is directly related to the asphalt.
Okay. We have 2 lots that we're holding.
Yes.
2 right now, yes.
I was to the site probably a week and a half ago, so I'm pretty familiar with the, and there, rendition, if you want to call it, what they did in the site is amazing. They've done a lot of work. Which one of the lots, as I come in the roadway, the affordable, which one's the affordable?
It's at like 1 o'clock,
At 1 o'clock?
like
Okay.
right, almost in front of you when you go down.
As I drive down?
It's a Colonial.
Yep, okay.
It's right here.
Thank you very, very much. That helps. So this one's the affordable, and that one's the one that you're looking to get released or almost done?
No, that's released already. We're looking to
Okay.
get lot 1 released. 'Cause
Okay, over here.
There's 1 and 6 that remain under the covenant.
Okay.
So we'd like to have 1 released. And then a condition that Stephen said that there was a cease and desist because of confusion with the permit, et cetera.
Yeah.
So he said, you can convey that. It had already been released under the covenant,
Mhm.
but we were just trying to kind of work with the town and that we didn't want to move forward without putting everything together. So he said, convey this to get this going. But I'll be honest with you, we're having some trouble trying to figure out or determine the eligibility of the buyer and the sales price. Because Stephen had provided us with information to contact someone, I contacted her. She was not helpful at all, not responsive. Jim, I think you could get Karen some information. We hit a wall with that too.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now we're just trying to go and do a little bit more research on our own because we can't even market that until we have the necessary information and the guidelines to follow.
So right at the, just so I can get my head around this, so we have a house that's going up on this one now?
No, that has been sold.
It has been sold.
And that has been sold. So
These
there
two
are
here.
residents in those
Is this
two.
the new one
That is
that
the
was
one
just
that
under
Mike-
construction?
Yes, that Mike is building right
All
now.
right, so this neck of the wood is already built.
Yes.
On those pictures, you'll see that gray Colonial,
I
that's the
saw it.
one, that's the one I'm building.
This sits on lot 4, the one is Mike is building.
Yeah, I
right
just
now.
walked through that the other day.
Oh, there you go.
So we have one left, you have about 6,000. We have one lot that's going to be still held. It's the corner lot,
Correct,
and,
on Cliffside.
yeah, right, it abuts Cliffy's house. So there's probably, you're saying you get $60,000 of infrastructure that you need to complete the infrastructure, roadways, drainage, all that, retention basins, guardrails, all that?
Yes, yes, those are all listed here. Mary, show, this is the list that was given
This is the letter that was provided, I think, to the board.
to actually, from Andy, for the original
From Andy?
approval,
Well,
yeah.
Webby Engineering on his behalf.
And this was provided October 4th, 2016.
Right.
When I think the 4 lots were
Yep.
released.
Got it.
Mr. Chair, if I may, so you're also trying, you're not building these spec, you're trying to sell the property and then build it to
Here you go, thank you.
custom.
Well, Karen sold a lot to Mike, and he has his own development company, he's selling that on his own.
Yeah.
Right, so
That's being marketed as we speak,
Yeah.
so that's on the
So
market as we
she will
speak.
sell the other lot
Are
to
you
Mike.
looking to do the same thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
so that
Looking to
she
sell the
can.
lot so somebody can build a custom house?
Exactly,
Okay.
similar to what he's building right now on the other lot. It's just an unfortunate thing that has happened to her, and so she was Andy's fiancée. So this is now her undertaking, and we don't really have the means to kind of move forward without selling a lot and trying to complete the infrastructure.
So, Mr. Chair, from what, the information that we have, the town's still going to have a lot to hold. Lots probably valued at $160,000, $180,000 anyways. They only have 61, say $65,000, $70,000 worth of remaining work to be done. They have one of the affordables up and you're working through the tweaks. I don't see that any reason why I'd have a problem releasing that lot 1 for them, to allow them to keep moving progress in the right direction to finish this project.
What I can do is promise you that, just, what I've been doing is trying to work through all the problems in addition to building the house. I've been trying to help Karen kind of navigate all these little issues, so
General contractor.
yeah, and I'll continue to do that, so as time goes on, we won't be waiting for the for the last lot to do all this work. I'll have all the street trees in, I'll get all of this, the detention pond done. I've already put out a bid, well, asked for a bid from one of the guys that has done some site work for me to do the guardrails. So I'm looking to have this stuff done in the next month or two. So I'm not looking to wait until spring when we can get the next lot released. I want to get it done because it's going to help me sell the houses that I'm building.
Yep.
It's going to help her because it's going to put it behind us. It's going to help the town because that thing, having been stagnant for a couple of years there, has become a bit of an issue. And now it seems to like be rolling. So we want to just keep it going.
And how much of the affordable house is done? Is that complete?
We
don't
can't
know.
figure it out. We have not been able to get the information as to what we can sell the house for and how does the customer qualify. We've been, for 2 or 3 weeks, we've actually gone to the town of Kingston, talked to them about how they do it. But Carver's program is different than Kingston's. So we actually got some information today that we're going to have to pursue to try to get to the bottom of how we go about marketing this house. It's there.
Is it completed?
It's two, the frame was inspected today, so the rough heat, rough electric, rough plumbing, in frame, decks, steps, all that stuff is done. I put the driveway in today, so it's getting there. We're probably 8 weeks out from being able to close on that.
And does that affordable have to be done?
Based on the original covenants that I read, it had to be permitted.
Okay.
So it didn't have to be completed, but it was stuck in limbo for all this time. So in the last month or two, we've been able to get things going and get things moving, got the permits squared away, got all that stuff done. So while I've been working on one house, been trying to get that house going as well. So now we're at this exact same place with both houses. So tomorrow I'm getting one insulated, on Thursday I'm getting the next one insulated. So we'll be able to offer those to the public about the exact same time.
And Mr. Chair, I would completely agree with Will that in order to keep them going, the way they've just been going now would be the best idea to do that.
It's been an unfortunate thing what's happened to Andy and the family and stuff like that. I mean, he had full intentions on this beautiful cul-de-sac with these houses and everything, and unfortunately he got sick. And it was recently passed. I think what they've accomplished and where they're at is twofold. So.
Any other questions or comments by the board? Do we know what lot they want, what lot do you want released?
It is lot one.
It's lot one, okay,
Yes.
lot one.
Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation to release Lot 1 of Limby's Path.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion, a second, further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I'm not familiar enough with the project to feel comfortable voting either way.
Okay. All right, so we, 3, 4, and 1 abstention. So we have some paperwork to sign?
Yep, passing it right now. Just had one comment, because we had an electrician in the office today trying to figure out which house.
There was some original confusion with the lot numbers and the house numbers.
That's what I was referring to.
And
Right.
and that has since been resolved by the girls down in the building department. So now we're on track to actually know what I think originally the lot numbers were being used, and now the addresses are being used. So we've been instructed specifically to use the addresses from
Okay,
here on in.
good.
So it's interesting, Jim, because I had gone into the building department a couple of years ago, and I brought in the plan, and I sat downstairs with Debbie, and I said, I need you to help me understand this. And we went through all the lot numbers and the corresponding street numbers. And that is why I made a comment that I feel that there was some confusion with, Andy when he pulled the permit, because the house that Mike is building right now is house number 4. the inclusionary unit is lot number 4. So for what it's worth, I do believe that that's where
I think they
the
just got
problem-
crossed.
Yeah.
Actually, when I went to pull the building permit for the building that I'm on, they already had a file for the foundation, and the plan for the affordable house was in that file. So it shows me that there was some confusion as to how things were even getting filed.
Because the first week I started here, we had outraged neighbors coming in.
Trees falling down everywhere.
Right,
Yeah.
well, the trees had already fallen down. They're wondering why you're out there doing all kinds of work, and you weren't supposed to be doing any work until these trees were resolved, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're looking at the plan, and it was even showing, all the information right there was so kind of very confusing as
Exactly,
to
Right.
which lot people were referring to.
right.
But we were allowed to do the work. We had gotten permission prior to doing any of that, as long as we proceeded and got the trees down, which we did within a matter of 30 days. I think we had all the trees down from getting the okay. So that was a $20,000 expense to take those trees down. That was a big number. So,
They were big trees.
Yeah, cranes are pretty expensive.
whew.
All right, well, good luck. And
Thank you so
and
much for
thank
your
you
time, and we really appreciate your
It's really come a long
comments.
ways, and I know it's been a difficult journey.
Yeah, but we'll make it happen. It'll be good.
Okay.
This is the
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
solar field.
All right, we have, is there anything else that you want to add tonight?
I'm just passing around the Tremont Street solar decision. So what I did, I amended, made changes based on the input of the board that evening. And then, had Andy Glines take a look at it, and then also sent it over to Sarah Stearns at Beals and Thomas, so they had a chance to look at it. So I didn't hear anything back from her on that, so just wanted to...
No, I think it reads right.
Jim, I'm just asking Will, on the first page in the bottom paragraph, I think Wainio is spelled incorrectly. Second line, W-A-I-N-O. I think it's W-A-I-N-I-O.
Oh, yeah.
I think if
okay.
the lots are correct,
Absolutely correct.
the spelling should be corrected in
Should be an I before they go at the end.
Okay.
My spell checker didn't get it. Sorry.
Good finish name.
That's why we have.
Well, it's right on page 2, it's right everywhere else, so. It's just that one spot was missing an I.
Oh,
I'm going to do very poorly in classes this year.
good pickup.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll have to reprint that page. All right, so we got Lydia's.
All right, we'll go on to planning board member notes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I want to bring the board up to speed on the urban renewal plan. As everybody has seen in the paper and also in meetings that we had a meeting last, about a week and a half ago, with the redevelopment authority in conjunction with the owner of a parcel property up on Montello. We had moved forward on a temporary taking of the property to allow some testing to be done on the site and stuff like that. It was a unanimous vote that was filed on the 2nd of this month. It's a 30-day taking. The owner of the property will be compensated for that. And he, only request is that we notify him within 24 hours whatever testing is going to be taking place. That was something that I wanted to be very public about, that it was, the owner of the property was there, it was a public meeting, was held, so that was just a little bit of progress up there. The Water District has been working diligently with some of the applicants on the, up on the Lillian Way parcel with the Williams, Jack Williams, and also with the Salty Dog up there, trying to get water to them. Both of them have great plans in place, and their needs are there for that, so the Water District has been working on that with them. So that's important news also. That's all I got.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, planning director notes.
All right, just want to point out we have Jack Williams here. Did you want to talk about Gilbert Estates?
Sure.
While you're,
Yes, to.
so,
Hi, Jack Williams, Gilbert Estates, up on, off of High Street. And I'm here to ask the planning board to sign the covenant for that subdivision. We have had a vote, I would say,
I believe it was the July 9th meeting for the extension of the special permit.
I don't think it was voted on for that then. It was actually, the vote was taken with Jack Hunter was involved. So
Okay.
that was
Oh, the
some time
the
ago.
original plan, okay.
The original plan for the vote, and then there was also discussion of the cost of the road and the subdivision, and also the approval of the covenant. The covenant never gets signed, with Jack leaving and me kind of not paying attention enough. I never got it signed. So that's kind of what I'm here, trying to clean up that little bit of a mess.
Do we have that?
So I've been trying to work on a covenant for him. I got waylaid by having to focus on a couple other projects. So my goal is to complete the covenant, have it reviewed by legal, and then have it ready for the next meeting.
Great.
That's fine.
I was trying to do it for tonight, but just ran out of time, unfortunately. And then, did you also need a letter from the planning board or planning department?
Well, yeah, basically a letter saying that the plan was reapproved, which was in July, I believe.
So you got the special permit extension at the
Yes.
July meeting?
Yes.
But then the plan was originally approved back in 2017, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we can combine that and get it all taken care of, I can get everything squared away.
All right, so we'll try to have that ready for you for, what is it, October 22nd? Keep on asking you.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
And then just the other item that we're kind of working on, we're starting to have some internal meetings with prospective permit tracking software companies. So we have a meeting tomorrow afternoon. Western Real's interested in, presenting something to us. And we have another company coming in next week to do a presentation. I expect maybe one or two other companies just to kind of present, because I'm trying to get up to speed on it myself and also get the staff who will be involved in implementing the system. I want them involved so that they understand all the pros and cons of each system. And at some point, we'll probably before the end of the year issue an RFP for permit tracking software company to come in and hopefully get that going in the next calendar year.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I had one more thing I wanted to bring to the public's information with the North Carver Water District. Years gone past, we've noticed that the existing generator that's at the site, we've had many issues with it. It actually was engineered way too big for the site, and it cost us quite a bit of money for fuel and maintenance and stuff like that. So the district commissioners have noticed this and have been working diligently on a solution. When Mr. Cole was here, we went out and received a grant to purchase a new generator that would be sized for the site, for what we need, and that we worked in conjunction with FM Generator out of Canton. They came down, did an evaluation of what our needs were, what our loads were, all of that. and gave us a size of, the appropriate size generator for the site. We have contracted with FM Generator to purchase a new generator. We're expecting the generator to be in within 4 to 5 weeks, and then we'll have a swap over. The existing generator, then we will sell. And when we sell that, the difference that we will be giving back to the town. So there'll be a cost that's going to come back to the town. Everybody in the town knows that the district costs money, and every year you see on your sheets, so when we fund different things, that the district needs X amount of dollars from the taxpayers. I thought it was important that, to let the people know. I know you probably don't watch a lot of the meetings, but I know a lot of people watch us, that the commissioners saw a deficiency, came up with a solution. We worked with a professional that was maintaining the generator that we had anyways to come up with appropriate size. We use resources between our professionals that we hire, our town planner, to get funding to be able to purchase this. We will be saving a substantial amount of money on yearly costs with propane, and it'll be more reliable. So I think that's good for everybody to know that we're diligently working on different solutions to bring our costs down, as our regular costs are well in check. It's our debt that we're trying to narrow down a little bit. Thank you.
Until we get North Carver developed.
Stand by. Hold on. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Will. Next, we have the minutes of October 27th and September 10th of 2019.
August 27th.
August 27th.
September 10th was approved at the last meeting. I think that was supposed to be September 24th.
24 in the packet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, so we have
We do have September 10th in the packet.
September 10th is in the package.
Oh, September 24th, that's a copy.
We have,
Order petitions.
Let's see what you sent me.
and then the other one is August 27th. We have, yeah, the ones we have is our August 27th
And September 10th.
and September 10th, that's what it says on the,
So is that correct?
Looking at the September 24th meeting minutes, the September 10th minutes were approved.
And I had the September 24th minutes emailed to me, because I was able to read them and I normally don't get them.
okay, but we don't have the 24th in front of us tonight.
You don't? I got it via email.
I don't. Oh, okay, but they were emailed out. So
Yeah.
what are we doing? So you're saying that September 10th we've already done, so we're gonna do the 24th? Okay, let's do August 27th first. Let's start off with that.
August 27th was a short meeting downstairs.
Right, and it just wasn't on the agenda last time to approve the minutes.
Right.
So we just couldn't formally approve them. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 27, 2019 meeting of the planning board.
I'll second that.
And those were amended minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do a second?
I second it.
Okay, second. Those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll abstain, I wasn't there. All right, so we do, so that was August 27th, so September 24th.
So, question for clarification, it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, can we do that then?
Even though it says September 10th, it's not on the agenda and not proper notice for.
So we'll
we should
table
just
that
have
until
for
we
the next one.
correctly note it on our next, at our next meeting. All right, so why don't we do that? We'll put the September 24th minutes off because they weren't noted correctly on the
It's
agenda.
September 10th, right?
Yeah.
So these are the 24th.
The
even
24th,
though
so we're
they
gonna,
say 10th.
yeah, we'll table that until our next meeting, and so it can, yeah. Okay, our next meeting date is the 22nd.
October 22nd. Want to say it one more time?
October 22nd.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and good night.